Think you can keep up with me?
Alright, I've already watched this through once, and overall, very, very good.
I can't wait to get it.
You've implemented a lot of things that we talked about right away. Very impressed.
Hello there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
In the beginning here, if you don't know if they're running sniper, you're gonna want to be looking for it to be behind a shield until you figure out what they're running behind cover, because it's an easier pick off for her than it is for you. And that scales with the ability of the sniper on the other team, but you don't want to give them a free opportunity in case they can't hit their shot yet.
Stop the payload.
Good pressure on that Mercy though.
Sniper, don't get caught.
Good positioning here, being way farther back than the rest of your team, close to this cover behind you, in case you need to use it.
I see. You're going to
That sleep was so close. I feel like that might have hit if somebody was just there. Very close though. So let's see here. Their team's down 3. That's awesome. Sorry, I just had to check to make sure I had the right colors correct. Cause sometimes it flips it, like when in the replay viewer, like I get confused. Again, going up here without the shield, I'd avoid it unless you have a shield up here. Or unless you know the Widow's dead, which gives you free opportunity to do so.
It's just a scratch. You'll be
Nice healing that person while doing your spam dodging to avoid the Widow. That was good.
fine.
Good reaction and mechanics. Nice.
Walk it off. Get back in the fight.
Good awareness. Good awareness to know that you might want to be backing up towards this side here, the cover again.
You're powered up. Get in.
I like that you realized that this McCree had his ult and that you comboed with him here.
Step rider.
Deine Hexe ist da. No fair.
Watching your back. Move up at my position. I see. You're going to live.
No one can hide from my sight.
Never.
Alright, here. I watched this before. I mean, so I'll say that here you should try to get your McCree to do this shit, because he has a possibility of maybe killing that Winston a little more than you do. But you know where the rest of the enemy team is and that they're right around this Winston. So staying here, well, I'll watch it.
Keep up with me.
Alright, so see how they're kind of surrounding you over here to the left and pushing forward? They have the opportunity to kind of all push in here. You're still kind of safe, but I would have had that Kree take this Winston out.
This will only hurt.
Although you almost got him. But you, look at you almost gotten there too by that Doomfist.
Get back in the fight. Shotgun.
You're lucky he sucks. That Widow almost hit her shot there. That's kind of hard to predict the grapple, so I'm not going to say anything about that. But look, she can possibly hit her shots. I don't know why she's missing her other shots, which are harder to hit when you're like standing out in the open at the top. But apparently she's better at jump shots for some reason. Good sleep there.
You look tired. Hello.
here, your whole team is about to be in that bubble. I'd be throwing your heal down as they're all here. Basically, you almost like if you did it immediately just now, you might get them all. But there you only get yourself in the McCree, but you have the opportunity to hit those other guys. All right. Since you're kind of down, people in a fight, and you have some people returning, I think, that are not there yet, probably will not be there in time. I would just try to stall the point as long as possible, and the way to best do that is use your nano on the diva, because you're not playing to win here, you're playing to buy time. So in this case, I would not so much nano the McCree. He's most likely not going to get, with the numbers advantage of the team and their tanks and everything being there, he's most likely not going to get a kill. So in my mind, I mean, he possibly could. Maybe he pops off and kills everybody, but the better bet would be to nano the diva to stall the point.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Experience.
Good job dying on point. Let me take a look at this. Actually, I'm going to go back. There's something I didn't realize.
You look tired. Hello. You're powered up. Get in there.
Oh, you actually nano the Genji. Okay. I thought you nanoed the McCree for some reason. Alright, that's not the worst idea. I mean, maybe Genji in some cases can make that work out. But still, and I didn't know the Genji was that close. But Diva may still have more value. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Experience.
Alright, Winston can block line of sight of Zenyatta's heals. So if you see that happening, like he puts his bubble down, immediately try to do what you can to get out of it, and on the same side as the bubble, side of the bubble as your Zenyatta, if you can. It was hard in that moment because you're trying to stall the point, but just saying that for future reference, I guess.
Step right up.
Old soldiers are hard to kill.
Here, I would probably stop going towards the point about now, because those guys are going to be dead by the time you get there, for sure.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Alright, and then I think I heard the Widow hook. So, and then at that point, I would kind of be trying to figure out where she's hooking to, and I might be spamming crouch a little bit, depending. Definitely, your team is not going to be safe here yet. Like, just Narissa and you need the rest of the team there. Something you can do, maybe, given that she's exactly where she is go behind, backing around behind the Orisa from underneath, so that you disappear from their line of sight, but you can still heal her through the doorway, because there's a doorway somewhere behind her, to your left. So, I don't know. That's one option, but I'm glad they didn't push this yet.
Moira by your side.
I recommend moving behind my battle.
Move up at my position. Thank you. It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Oh, wait, there was something I saw here earlier, and I wanted to say that I was really proud of you for. Right here, when you get that body shot from the Widow, I'm really proud of you for not using your nade to heal yourself. When I first saw that, I'm like, hey, way to go. You waited to get
Move
the
up at
heals
my
from your
position.
Moira. Good job.
Thank you. It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
This isn't bad positioning considering in relation to where your team's standing.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
All right, you hear the Winston jump most likely. Right now, I try to be figuring out exactly where he is compared to you, and then be thinking about how you could reposition and what level of threat you are. Due to the fact he's like top right compared to where you are. And you see somebody else over there. I think it's the McCree. It looks like a McCree, but it's not a McCree. Maybe it's the Tracer or something. Or, I don't know. But right now he's focusing you down, and you didn't look at him yet to know that what his priority would, or that he might be thinking about getting you. So you could already have that information, be repositioning, and minimize the impact he's about to have, because I'll show you what I'll just hit play and I'll show you kind of what happens because of this. Like, you realize he's there, but when you're turning around, by the time you are like this Reinhardt is pushing up, and he's able to get his shatter off on you. So if you're aware of this Winston and doing something about him sooner, you may or may not be in this alt, because perhaps you see the Reinhardt moving up and whatever. It's just basically getting the information as quick as you can so you can do something differently about it. It's a good anti, especially since the Reinhardt really wants to capitalize on the shatter, and you make it so he feels like he can't do anything right now, and possibly gives your team a way to pick him off. If he's dead, the enemy team's basically done with this fight. Their Winston's already dead, and if their Reinhardt goes, and they just have their 2 DPS and healers, and like their Ana's already getting kind of low, they're screwed. This is good teamwork with you and your Myra here.
You're covered. Thank you.
All right, and then you heard the Widow hook. So there, I guess she's hooked far enough away, maybe you could hear that. But whenever a Widow's hooking, I'm trying to figure out where she's at, and then I might even be doing a little bit of crouch spamming and some interesting Ana movement, just to ensure that I'm not in immediate possible danger. And I suppose that maybe you don't have to worry about that as much sometimes at your elo, but that's a good thing to get into, because say for some reason that Widow happens to be good for a moment and hits you even with her hook shot or whatever the hell, you've greatly reduced the possibility of her hitting you, just by doing some interesting movement patterns and manipulating your character's hitbox, because as you're doing your movement patterns, it's throwing her character animations are throwing her head all over the freaking place. She's such a weirdo as far as the way she looks as a character and where her hitboxes are.
Let's see. You're going to. Nano boost is ready to deploy.
All right. So I know that you and Genji are thinking about doing a combo here, or at least you are seeing that he's about ready and are aware of that, and I love that you know that, and that you're looking to combo that nano with him. Well, I'll go forward here. There's something I might say. I can't remember how this happens here.
Nano boost is ready. Get in there, and I'll hit you. No power down. Get in there.
Now, you use the nade here, but she's not really doing a crap load of damage to you. To be honest, if possible, I would be looking to use the nade on the enemies that the Genji is focusing, because he's much more likely to get those kills if you do. And it really, they're all grouped up, so you could possibly really screw them over. Because that's a lot of spam damage. That's a lot of area damage to the entire team. So that makes it much more likely that he's going to get his dash resets if you just hit everybody with that. But you get that kill, good. That's very good. Also, here, if you hadn't jumped down from high ground, I would have stayed on that high ground basically and look to like heal your Genji as he's going through his ult up there. You want to make sure he's successful as possible and has less pressure on him. But sleeping this Ryan is good. Right there, because all right, so I think he killed that. No, there's nobody up here to be killed anymore. Although there might be a Winston right behind you, but say there was somebody there. Like if I saw the Genji kind of coming around and maybe at the corner with that amount of health and maybe possibly be spam damage, that's a good time to quick scope real quick because Genji's hard to hit and he does stupid movement patterns when he doesn't need to, like double jumping when you're trying to heal him, and just Genji players are not thinking at all usually when they're jumping around like that, just being as hard to hit as possible by automatic reflex. I don't know. Maybe that's too much insult to Genji players, but it's more of a reflection on how I feel when I try to heal a Genji. So I would quick scope him for that one moment, so that way he doesn't die to just a random half aimed anything in his direction.
Get back in the fight.
And that was very situational there. I don't see a lot of that happening prior to this moment, at least.
Annual performance analysis.
I need healing.
Annual performance analysis.
Yep, and that's a fine time to just hard scope in there like that. I don't think that you have to worry about the tracer at the very second. Although if you are hard scoped like that and she does happen to have her ult, then you're an easy stick target. But for now, and then also if you hard scope like that and she happens to be right behind you, she can one clip you a lot easier. But for right now, I don't think you really have to worry about her. I don't get the sense that that's going to be an immediate concern. All right, here I would have quick scoped this Genji here.
We're going to
At least I would have thought about it. That actually wasn't the moment I thought it was going to be. There's something that comes up that looks very similar to that. I thought this was a different moment in the game.
I'm on fire. You're going to be okay.
Surrender to my will.
Healing enough.
Thanks. Annual performance analysis. My alternate is charging.
Get it and feast.
All right, so your team's down 2. Pretty sure, yeah. Your Moira, your other main healer, and your Genji who has ult. The best thing here to do here is to try to get your team to back up farther and to play farther away from where the enemy team's spawning yourself the best you can, because you want your team to get to come back and make it a 6v6. Giving them the cart and a bit of space, like progress is okay. It's much worse if you get picked off here though. Especially since your Genji has blade and you almost have your nano. It makes it so you guys have a win condition met. So you definitely don't want to die in those circumstances.
My blade is ready to be unleashed.
And here I would try to pull back even farther towards the staircase behind you. Because if your McCree gets pushed, he might try to go towards that mini, but you can also try to like notify him to keep on moving backwards, because that may be his line of retreat.
Wait,
My ultimate ultimate is charged.
Oh, unfortunate. It's not bad being out there though. I like the fact that you're thinking about where that mega is and breaking line of sight with the enemy and having this edge to maneuver around. If you were pushed back a little bit more though, instead of going out that way, if you had taken this high ground or pushed back a little bit more, you wouldn't necessarily be in that position to get shattered. I'm glad you're no longer where you just were. Just simply because once the enemy team gets to where they're standing right now, like see how if he hadn't even shattered there, if your team kept on moving back, then the Reinhardt could just, from his point of view, have taken a right and gone out that door. Anybody could basically, because this is their controlled space now, like here. So backing up towards where your team's about to be coming out, and whenever you can kind of take high ground and break away from like where they're standing, which is mostly low ground, you're better off. But I like your thought process and your employment of what we were talking about. I'm just giving you a greater expanding on it further. Now I think your Genji's about to blade. Unfortunate. Oh, maybe not. He didn't do it. All right, good. Good job to your diva for that. PogChamp fucking ult.
Is ready.
It's too bad you lose your shield tank there.
My ultimate is ready.
Olim وينفذ. Keep you healed.
Right there, I would probably nade. I'll show you one clip. All right, so their Ryan's pushed forward. They don't have a tank to block or shield to block anything right now. And you're not about. It doesn't look like you're thinking about sleeping the Ryan, but like the biggest thing you can do right here is set up a huge play.
Keep you healed.
Number one, look to nade these people the best you can. I don't know. Maybe they would bubble that, and maybe Myra would fade out. I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking. Because, yep, you nano him next, right? So even without doing that, throwing that nade, you can still do it right here after nanoing.
Get in there. Rendezvous at my position.
Good idea to scope in there. I'd probably Oh, you were out of bullets, that's why.
I need healing.
Oh, you missed that by just a sliver? It's too bad. Here, you need a quick scope. Or scope in. And I'll show you why. Because he needs to be healed, first of all. And you need to hit that shot. And he's probably about to be more evasive so that he doesn't die on his low health while still pressuring her the best he can. And look at this tracer. Watch how much damage she's actually doing to you. You have a moment before she kills you. But like, she's going through like an entire clip and only getting like 40 damage out of you every single time. And you need to be hitting those shots on these little targets. It makes it a lot easier for her. So she's like, oh, fuck going after that Genji. I'm going to go after this healer that could potentially heal everybody up. That's a higher value anyways. And she's thinking also, maybe my aim sucks and it's hard to hit this Genji because I can't hit shit, so I'll go for a more stationary target. I don't know what she's actually thinking, but at any rate, she focuses on you instead of him. But look she still didn't hit you with much. And if you heal your Genji up now, instead of really worrying about her and what she's doing, your Genji can pressure her, and she gets more pressure on her. She might back out. You give her the decision to either get killed because your Genji can do enough damage, and then you can help focus this chick down with your Genji. throw a sleep dart at her or whatever. But as long as he's alive, he has less pressure on him to focus her with you. If he's low on health and alive, he may still not focuses her all that much because he might be stressed out from his health level or playing it safer so he doesn't die, giving, because that doesn't do anybody any good. But it may affect the way he's playing. So there, I would have changed the fight by quick scoping in a bit more, and I think you could definitely had the time to do it, based on her crappy tracking.
For the count. Here you go.
This will heal you.
That poor Genji. You're really
30
focusing on him.
seconds remaining.
They're almost out of time. We'll stop them here and now.
Огонь по готовности.
Step right.
Good job to kind of wait to see who's coming, to not be on the front line. I wouldn't really peek here yet. You don't have to. And especially don't have to show that much of your body quite yet.
10 seconds remaining.
My ultimate is charging.
I don't know how you just missed those shots. You've been hitting all your other shots so well. It's alright though. You're not in the hammer down. I'm happy about that. That's good. That's due to your general spacing farther away from the rest of your team, and also hugging that wall for cover from the people above you. So in a way, your intuition of where to be saved you from that ult. Here, I don't know if you can really save anybody. I would either try to be getting my ult or like maybe pressuring that tracer, because I don't know. I don't think there's anything you can do here. I won't say anything about this moment because it's like lost fight no matter what now. Which has nothing to do with you, really. But sometimes what I was going to say is, like, if you have a tracer hard focusing you, and sometimes it's better just to turn around and shoot the tracer. If you hit her once, she's down like half health because it's 70 per shot. I think she's at 80 health already. You could hit her with a nade maybe or something, especially if she's already used recall. Like, that's a lot of pressure. You might even conceal the kill. You don't necessarily need to make her die, but with a bit of pressure, hopefully you make her choose between whether or not she actually wants to be there anymore. Again, this is not the situation to talk about that, because there's too many people there to kill you right now. But I'll just bring that up for future reference of ways to approach a tracer.
No
The
time on
payload
my
has
part.
reached the checkpoint.
Here, I would be trying to reposition to get back with your team before they realize that there's a 3v6. They don't really do that, but they should. Like, if they just pushed into you right now, they could probably kill you guys before they got back and then go back to the payload, which isn't really moving all that much. And having 3 people on it won't get it that much farther than if they just kill the 3 of you and have another 3v6 in a second.
Group up with me.
But they don't realize that.
Bombs away.
Alright, here, just remember to hug this side here, or try to maneuver to the next location where you're safe. I know you're thinking that you want to kind of go up here to support people, but as long as you're in the open, that's like, they got this Hanzo here, and I think you'll notice that in a minute. He tries to shoot at you. But that's something that I always look for, especially when I'm Ana on offense. I try to, because a lot of teams are running double shield right now, and oftentimes they're blocking up here at the corner, but they're not thinking about this wide open space. So you'll see the back line just hang out where you're hanging out, and a good nade will just hit them. Especially, like if they're not reacting to the fact that they're just standing there. They don't think about it really for some reason. But you don't want to fall in that same trap by being out here. Because the Baptiste, or that you're, never mind. I'm looking at the a character and think it's a different character over there. But anyways, the Hanzo could be shooting you. You could even take a right click or something from their Zarya if she's thinking about it.
Barrier in place.
Yeah, she actually did think about it. You're not in immediate danger, I guess, but you could be.
Fully healed.
Where you're here, this is a much better spot. Yep, back up here by a lot. Maybe you jump up top right. Use your ability to jump up top, the crouch and jump, and get out of this ult while you can still heal everybody. But that's not a bad thing to have done either. Basically, they should want to push in with that ult, and you make it so your team can stand the ground there. So that's good thinking. Yeah, they can't do anything with that. That was good. This Kree, oh my gosh. Alright. And then I can hear Zarya right to Zarya to your immediate left at this moment, like on the back of the payload.
60 seconds.
It would be wise to stay out of my sight.
You got a few seconds to maybe do some damage. I would think about where you might want to reposition in a second if when their Hanzo comes out though. I wouldn't want to be the first person he sees and be out in the open anyway. Something you might think about doing is jumping top left for a second. Like there's this building to your left and there's the high ground there. You can easily access it without running up the steps if you use your jump ability. That's something you may think about doing, although you're still kind of a risk, but less of a risk, especially like with Hanzo being farther away. You can, and you're showing, if you show less of your crazy little hitbox that Baptiste seemed to have, you might have the ability to kind of juke what he's doing for a moment at least. I wouldn't stay up there for too long though after the enemy team starts really making a push. Like if their Rhine pushes in pretty quick and the other team follows up, you don't want to be top left anymore.
Activating the barrier.
Oh my goodness. I need healing.
Got you good as new.
That's unfortunate. I don't know why he's way over there, but at the same time, they don't have a front line because the Reinhardt's way over there. It's weird.
This is my will.
There, I might be throwing my heals over where the Genji is as long as possible, or just for a little while, just because his goal right now is just to keep that DPS from flanking that direction. So he's just trying to hold that ground so they can't go there. So the longer he can do it, the more pressure they have. And it doesn't look like they're committed to that anymore, but I would definitely back up that thought process on his behalf, because it makes your life a lot easier. It makes it easier in the sense that you don't have a tracer on you right now.
30 seconds.
Nice going up there. Although, yeah, I guess it makes sense right now because you can't be hit by this front line and it doesn't look like your team's about to push back. I don't know. Oh. I love that you use that there. I love that you're about to use your ult here. From my memory, you do this so quick and you peel your team out. It's amazing. Really quick thinking. That lets your team hold that. That's just an all-around great play. Choosing to damage him when he's low there instead of heal the D.Va, that was a good choice. realizing that the damage is more important than the healing at the moment. That's unfortunate, but good plays all around there until that moment. And even during that moment, it's not the worst. I mean, like, there's just, you have the numbers advantage you can push in, but that bought a lot. All that stuff you did right there, like that ulting and all that other stuff, bought a good amount of time on the cart and kept your team alive when they should have been dead. At least that's my perspective of it, watching it.
Victory.
Anyways, overall, really good game, good choices. I would start to try to build better habits when going against widows. They're not as much of a threat in your current elo, and maybe that would allow you a certain degree of freedom to be places that you generally wouldn't be. But it's good to be. You won't be at this elo, in my belief, for very long, given that you put enough time into climb. It's better to have the understanding of what you should be doing if the enemy team was more mechanically capable than it is to pretend that you won't get hit, because eventually you'll have to be developing the sense of where to be when they're pushing you and how you should be playing, and having to respect their ability, because as you go higher they will hit their shots. Something that somebody told me one time that I liked is, you don't, and this is something that's people have said in Overwatch, that maybe somebody great said it once, but I don't know where it came from. But you don't necessarily want to play in a way where you are hoping that or expecting that the enemy team is going to make a mistake. Like, you're gonna, like, that your play and your safety or whatever you're doing depends or is contingent upon them making that mistake. You're hoping that their widow sucks enough and makes the mistake of being widow and she shouldn't be, and shooting you and missing all her shots. That's your bet that you're making, that she's going to miss her shot. But you shouldn't be making that plan. You basically, I mean, I guess it's okay right here, but what I mean to say is, it's rather that you expect that maybe she could hit her shots and you don't give her a free opportunity whenever possible. Look for ways to have greater guarantee of your safety. Because, like, say you do hit her or you do get a few shots in on Ana, you're probably not going to kill anybody. You get a little bit of alt charge. That's what you get paid. That's the currency or the payment received for your the wages received for the work you've done, which is a little bit. But if she hits her shot, you take out like a healer, a major healer, and all the utility you can provide with your antis and sleeps. Like, remember the times you slept the Reinhardt, so that you couldn't do anything, or like and then if you get an anti out there, which you did several, that's something that's big for your team. So you remove that option for a little bit of alt charge. So, you don't want to be giving them that sort of opportunity with a belief that they're not going to be able to do it, if possible. That's the thought process that at least is the best to have. I see a lot of like hit scans having that perception as they go, like even in Plat and some other places, is they're not playing cover, or they'll be out in the open, like a McCree might be out in the open, basically allowing the enemy team to have free shots on him, instead of doing like a corner peeking thing where he like peeks out occasionally to get some shots in, showing only a small amount of his body, and thinking about his positioning in different ways. And sometimes they just make it so like they just take spam damage and die, or like the other team gets lucky and hits a few shots on them and they die, but if they play that corner, then maybe they can break away and get some heals or do something else and survive, and just not give the enemy team free opportunities to kill them for no freaking reason, So that's, and maybe I think I'm beating a dead horse here, but I just want to give you different examples of how that could be viewed in ways that other people do it sometimes, etc. Like ways that people provide free opportunities, hoping that their enemy makes a mistake, and they don't need to, basically. All right. So we went over the widow. Use your positional sound for like that Winston, or like when you hear a widow cook, or that Zarya when she was near the end when she was behind the payload with the Myra or whatever. Just